Alright guys, hello. I'm here to talk about the Haru buffs today, and the Lycaon nerfs. I'll get to that later. For those who don't know, currently in beta and leaks, we know that there is going to be a Harumasa and a Lycaon buff coming in version 2.6. The following info is strictly leaks, so if you don't want to hear about it, click off the video. Yeah, I will mostly be talking about Harumasa's buffs and changes, which aren't that much. And then at the end, I'll quickly go over Lycaon, because there's not much to Lycaon right now, and it's kind of bad, and I'm hoping they change it. But anyway, yeah, Haru. Right, so Harumasa has fairly basic and simple changes. They're all really good, though. Immediately, his buff passive, the potential, whatever the hell it's called, that is leveled up to level 6, gives him up to 30% combat attack whenever he uses an EX special attack, a chain attack, or an ultimate. I've seen people saying on social media that this is bad. No, this is insane. This is a lot of attack. Harumasa should be building anywhere between 3,000 and 4,000 attack on a good build. This equals to around 1,000 attack for basically existing. That's really good. You're basically getting an extra slot in the team, or like a support, but they don't actually have to do anything. Like, he just gets 1,000 free attack. It's more than 1,000, but we're gonna say 1,000. It's kind of just there, you know, it's passive. Next, they changed, or I guess they kind of buffed Harumasa's core to also give this crit damage to his ultimate. He gives 72% crit damage to ultimate now once you do dash attacks. However, they didn't make it so the crit rate also applies to ultimates, which is kinda bad. With that being said, though, it's still a buff. It's pretty substantial. It's a lot of crit damage, so it is good. And that's basically the last like numbers related thing that he has. The rest are kind of gameplay changes. Just to get this out of the way quickly, Harumasa should be invincible on his first dash attack. The way it's written, it sounds like every dash attack should be invincible. However, he still has 40% damage reduction in the code, so I don't think it would make much sense for all of them to be invincible. I think it's just the first one. Point is, he's slightly more like sustainable and out of stun. Okay. Harumasa was given 2 new moves. He was given a new EX special attack, and he was given a new ultimate. I'll go over the new EX special attack first. Basically, whenever you're doing a dash attack, basic attack 4, basic attack 5, or ultimate, if you then use this EX special attack, Harumasa will do a different animation, which is about the same speed, but it does double the damage almost. And what it does is it'll spawn 6 quivers, and then immediately detonate them automatically without you having to use, like, Falling Feather. This is both good and bad. It's good because the EX is just a ton of damage. But it can be bad if you override quivers accidentally. For those not super familiar with Harumasa, whenever you have quivers and you spawn more, what's going to happen is that they will automatically be fired. And if Harumasa uses his new EX special, when he already has quivers, he's gonna instantly detonate the first quivers and get him like all his stacks, basically. But then he's automatically gonna detonate them again, which will make him overstack. This is avoidable by just using the EX later in the combo, but even if you accidentally mess up and use it too early, it does so much damage, it's kind of fine. Now, his second ultimate, he was given, it's more like a DLC, basically, to his ultimate. Whenever Harumasa does dash attacks, he will gain this little stack icon called Gleaming Edge. What Gleaming Edge does is it basically increases the crit damage of his dash attacks by up to 72%, which now also applies to his ultimate. However, there's a new little stack. Whenever he has 6 stacks of Gleaming Edge, which he can do by critting every hit on 2 dash attacks, he will get a brand new stack. And what this one does is when you ultimate with this new stack, there will be an extra hit of damage at the end of the ultimate. This does currently 1,100% motion value. This isn't that high, but considering that his ultimate now also gets the crit damage from his core, including this final hit, even though the number itself isn't that high, this is a very substantial increase in damage. This also should work with Dylan's free ultimate. So if you have the special stack here and you use Dylan's ultimate for Harumasa, he will also do the second part. So this equals like an extra 2,000 something % motion value per stun with Dylan. That's about it for the changes. He has a new EX, he has a new ultimate, and he has some passive changes. They didn't really do anything to his gameplay. If you were hoping he would get like more dashes, he doesn't really. If you're hoping it would become like easier to play, it doesn't really. I actually honestly kind of like it. There's barely any gameplay changes. His quality of life has basically remained unchanged. He's still the same character, he just does more damage now, and he has some cooler animations. As for how strong the buff is, I don't do like calcs, so I don't know like the exact numbers. But just telling you from the stats and the numbers that he's gained, this is a very good buff. Even if you only look at the crit damage from core and the 30% combat attack, this is like one of the better buffs, period, that we've had so far. Of course, only the first version, and things are likely to change. But if they stay as they are right now, Harumasa would become like fairly competitive. He wouldn't be like Shunguang level, fuck no. But he would definitely be like on par or like similar-ish enough to his other like attacker competition, like Seed. I don't think he'd be better, I doubt it, but he would be like in a similar range, which is good. Anyway, there will probably be more changes, a bunch of them, so I will make another short video like this again in a week and see what's changed, and I will keep doing that until he's fully out, and then I will make a full guide on Harumasa again. Anyway, that's Harumasa. Let's talk about the Lycaon nerfs. Oh, this will be quick. Lycaon's Potential Awakening is the worst one by far, ever. Which I guess is fine, because he is the best standard character. But here's what the buffs do. For his buff passive, he gets some amount of impact, just for resisting, which is cool, you know, he dazes a little faster. And then they gave him, I think it's 20% damage bonus for every element except ice. As you might imagine, that is a 0% DPS increase to every team he has. I don't know if this is a mistake or like they're trolling. I think they're trolling. This doesn't really do anything. What this does is it makes the third member of your party do more damage. Like if you're playing Dylan, Lycaon, Hugo, Dylan does more damage. Or if you're playing DPS Zhao with like Lycaon, Nicole, like I am, Nicole will do more damage. That's cool. Yeah, that's the thing. Anyway, aside from that, he has one main change, which is very controversial. When Lycaon does a parry follow-up, the assist follow-up, he will give you a quick assist, because he has a new follow-up. He will give you a quick assist, and if you take that quick assist, Lycaon will basically become a before shot character. Not an after shot character, a before shot character. He will remain on field, and you will be both controlling the active character, your DPS, and Lycaon at the exact same time. Lycaon can basic attack, dodge counter, as you are on the main character. So it's basically like a second unit you're playing. Lycaon, however, can still take damage when he's in this weird state. He will remain on field for 7 seconds, and there is no way to switch back to him while he is on field. There are some upsides and a lot of downsides to this. The upside is that you're getting some passive days while you're on the main DPS, but most teams don't really care about this. It also makes Restrained a little bit better on him. But the downside is if you can't switch back to Lycaon, you're not getting parries, which is significantly more days than his basics would be doing. But it also nerfs your decibel generation. And if you're playing something like a Lycaon, Light, or Hugo, if Lycaon quick assist into Hugo, your hormone might get screwed, which is pretty bad. There's also another thing, if you play Lycaon on Mono Ice, this buff will do absolutely nothing but grief your freezes, because he will be on field attacking while you're doing the rotation. The only like real place where this is like good, I think, is an Ellen team. You have Lycaon just doing stuff off field while you're like attacking on Ellen, and there it works fine. But not being able to parry on him is still bad. Right now, this is literally 0% DPS or negative, depending on the team. I think it's a cool idea, but it's very weird at the moment. They could very easily make it good by just making it so you can switch back to Lycaon during the 7-second window. They will probably do it. Again, this is literally the first version of buffs we have. I expect things to change a lot. But the way the buffs are right now, I just won't turn them on for Lycaon. They're really bad. They do nothing, or they like grief your rotation, so right now they suck. But I expect them to change. Same as Harumasa, a week from now, I'll make another video updating you on how it looks like right now. Anyway, that's it for the Lycaon nerfs and the Harumasa buffs though. I'm really liking the Harumasa buffs. He's basically the same character, but he does a lot more damage. And Lycaon buffs, work in progress. I'll get there. Anyway, hope the information was useful to you, if at all. And I'm calling it a day. See you guys.